There's kinks, there's tea bags, there's twisting of melons this morning. We've got it all here on the Good Morning Portugal show. Let's play his intro music and hear him on the other side, or see him on the other side of this.
Bon dia!
It's the old guy in Europe. Now, even if the world is going crazy, that's a very reassuring picking of the guitar there, isn't it? Which I find very centering and relaxing, James. How are you?
Yeah.
Muito
bem, obrigado.
Muito bem. Excelente, excelente.
E tu? Como estás?
Muito bem. Também. Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado. Bom dia, boa semana.
Oh, igualmente.
Igualmente, igual. Is that not what I said? Igualmente. Muito obrigado. Yes, so as I said, you are the old guy on YouTube. You've very thoughtfully included that in your title there. Please subscribe. The videos are coming out every week. You covered the Espinho market, the legendary. Is it true that NASA can see it from space and use it as a navigation aid?
Well, I can see it on the satellite map, so I guess it could be seen from space.
How about that? How about that? Great to see you.
There's not much that can't be seen from space these days. They can zoom in on a dime on the pavement, it seems. So.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. So, yes, well done. How's it going with the YouTube channel? You are, as I was saying to Henry and Nina, it sounded a little bit lecturely, didn't it? But I think it's true. Consistency is the key. And you're doing it. You've managed to put something out every Friday, haven't you, since you started? How long have you been doing it now?
Friday for a year and several months. Yeah. So, yeah, it's going really well. I'm enjoying it. It's really helpful for me to have the content from the Good Morning Portugal show, because I can do that for a couple of weeks, because the independent things like the market, that took me nearly 2 weeks to produce, to get it filmed and edited and voiced over and all the things that it requires. So it takes a lot of time, where the other ones are fairly quick. So it's a good pace for me. And I think the audience is getting used to the fact that it's not just all Good Morning Portugal. There's unique things, trips to Porto, you know, the Monday market, that kind of thing. So it seems to be working. I was amazed at how many views I got on that Espinho market one. It just 4 times what I normally get in the first 48 hours. It just was, it's like, wow, what happened?
That's good. That's good, because I was talking about this with the Portuguese. Sometimes when you put loads of work into a video and it's your favorite video you've ever made, like 3 people watch it.
One view and a dislike. It's like,
But that's great news. Why do you think that is? Is it because it is such a landmark and people want to?
Well, I guess, but you know, it's so many people say, well, it's all in the title, or it's all in the thumbnail, you know, that you use that catches people's attention. But I thought, okay, well, when I like, my number one most viewed video was my 5th episode, which was titled "My First Day in Portugal," and that's had 5,000, 8,000 views.
Cool.
It's just that one. So that's that's about at least half or over half of all the views of the 63 episodes I produced. So I thought, okay, well, my first day in Portugal, what is that? Okay, well, it's about being in Portugal. It's about arriving in Portugal. So maybe that's what got the draw on that. But then I've tried my first walk in Ericeira, my first this, and naming places, and they don't draw the same kind of numbers. So I just don't know. I don't really, fortunately, I'm not trying to make money on it. I'm not making money on it. I just do it because I enjoy doing it, and I want to share what I've got available for folks. And that's working fine for me.
That is the best.
I wouldn't mind seeing more. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it's the best fallback position. It's like, well, I don't want to make any money from it anyway. It's just for the love of it. That's always a good back position, I think, on that.
Yeah, and it's not a sour grapes. It's not a sour grapes attitude. You know, it's like, that was never my intention. My intention was to provide value to people who watched.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
value could come from just enjoying it, from pleasure, from humor, from information, from education, whatever it is. It's a value to the viewer. That's my interest.
Yes, indeed.
So
And
I don't
the
need to make
original
money on it.
message from our conversations, I think, shines through from time to time. You're known as the well. This is Mindful Monday, isn't it? We might return to that and see if you've got any reflections just recently, because things have changed a lot, I think, since we first started talking to each other, and a lot of those conversations are showcased. They're always a great surprise and a great pleasure for me to look at our old chats that we used to have. Anything come to mind in the last few weeks, months, year or so since you've been making the YouTubes about migrating mindfully to Portugal? Key messages, anything else, anything recently that's occurred to you in these somewhat turbulent times?
Well, the first thing that popped into mind, and I don't know that it's the most important thing, but was the language acquisition, learning the language. I've gotten excited. I've run the complete range between really excited and feeling like I'm learning a lot to just wanting to give up, to shoot somebody and say, never mind, I don't care about my residency. I can't get this language, whatever. So and I think that is probably a relatively good model for virtually every experience as a new person in the country. You go from being incredibly thrilled and overjoyed to really frustrated and disappointed. For me, the positives far, far outweigh the negatives. I mean, 95% of the time I'm here, I wake up really happy to wake up in Portugal, being here. So when it comes to measuring that, it's easy for us to complain. It's something that we tend to do. So someone says, how's it going? We'll spend in 10 minutes, 8 minutes talking about the thing we're really frustrated with, and 2 minutes maybe about the thing that we are really appreciating, when the actual percentages are the complete opposite. It's 80 or 90% of joy and another 5 or 10% maybe of dissatisfaction. Yeah. So I would say, especially for people who are settling into, they've been here for a while and now they may have reached a point where they're going, is this really working for me or is it not? Just give it time, settle in. It takes time. Just like the language, it's a little, one step at a time, a little piece added, another little piece added to the overall experience. So it requires patience, and that requires a certain amount of commitment to just stick with it. And that's almost sounding like, oh, there's a whole lot of horrible things you have to deal with to stick with it. It's not. It's easy. It's just if you don't focus on the frustrating things, which can be really important, like residency renewal and, visa applications and those kinds of things are important. And, especially when Portuguese law says you have to do it by, and there's nothing in the entire country that's done in that amount of time.
Yes, well said. Yeah.
As a foreigner, you're anxious because it's like, oh my God, I'll be illegal, and then what'll happen? And the Portuguese are, don't worry about it. They'll change the law or they'll get it done, and they're not going to hold you responsible. But it's hard to embrace that when that's not your experience from where you came from. It's really hard to
exactly. Well said. And the word that sums it all up is calma, isn't it? It's come up just recently. Antonio F said it to me because he's sending me these incredible lists of musicians to add to. Let me just share this. There's a couple of reasons why I want to share this screen. You'll see at the Portugal Club here. In the middle, Antonio F's Guide to Portuguese Music. He sent me about 200 links. So I'm apologizing to him, saying, Antonio, please, I can't keep up with this, basically. It's a subtext of me saying, oh, I'm doing my best. And he said, as we say, calma. He's not bothered. He just wants to share them with me, and he's happy for me to do it in my own time. It's a very Portuguese thing. And the other day as well, I'll just take this off the screen. Before I do, to the top left there, to Henry and Nina, and to you, James, the European 30-day Portuguese challenge for beginners. If you do need a little bit of help learning the language, I thoroughly recommend that. I've got a lot of benefit from it myself, and also the frustration you talk about. It is one step forward, one and a half steps over to the diagonal left, and then back over to the middle, then 2 steps back, and then 3 steps forward when you have a fantastic full Portuguese conversation in a cafe. It's all over the place, but you do need a little bit of support and help. And it's true what James says, it goes all over the place. But anyway, calma. I was me and Mrs. M having a little cup of coffee, I think on Friday morning, and one of the shopkeepers, I heard her shout out, "Calm." It's like, it wasn't. Did she say it in a calm way? I can't remember now, but she said "calma" to a guy who was hooting her, and I thought she is so great and ballsy. In the UK, if someone's behind you hooting you to move your car, you're kind of like doing the apologetic shuffle, and you speed up your step, like when someone holds a door open for you, or you're
showing
crossing
them a finger. Yeah.
Well, it does. It can get to that, but the first position in the UK is if someone stops for you, like a pedestrian crossing, you hasten your step as a way of, you wave to them and sort of give them a thank you gesture, and then you speed up a bit in a British way to say, "Oh, thank you very much. I'll get out of your way now. I'm so sorry to exist." And then if
sorry,
you're blocking,
sorry, is it?
Sorry. And if you're blocking them, it's the same thing. You sort of wave to them as you get back in your car. "Oh, sorry, really sorry. I'm going now. I'm going now." And this guy hooted this lovely shopkeeper who we've known since we've been here, and she, instead of moving, she just looked at him and went, "Calma," like this. I was thinking,
relax.
Yeah,
relax.
You can't go anywhere. so I think that is so true in this culture. But as you say, James, if you're a foreigner and you're seeing these like terrifying deadlines of something official that you should have done, and you're thinking your life in this country depends upon it, you're not calm about that, are you? But they are.
Right. Well, and you can be consciously aware that you should be calm, but you still carry the anxiety internally unless you really focus on settling down and trusting what people are telling you. And that's the other thing. It's hard to trust because it's a brand new culture, a brand new country. You don't know whether, the police or IMA or someone's going to come knocking at your door any minute, or whether you could just be here forever and no one would care. You just don't know. And that's the thing. I think it's not knowing that is a primary source of that anxiety. So obviously getting feedback, getting information, hiring services that you can trust, or that people you trust refer you to, can all be helpful ways of dealing with that. Yeah. But for me, that's the overall thing about being in a new place. It's not culture shock. It's culture adaptation. It's a slow, gradual process. And so being patient is important. And I tend to be fairly calm. I tend to be fairly patient. So, there's so much about the Portuguese culture that works for me that I've never once in my 3+ years here thought, maybe this isn't for me, ever. Not even close. It's always been, oh, well, that's difficult. Okay, what do I do about it?
I've always thought that you're going to make it work for you. You'll find a way to do that. You've decided, and I think that's a really healthy thing. It's like, well, this is it. This is my life now. And I guess as the faders move, it's like lever full on to Portugal and throttling back in the old place. That as the memory fades of why you moved away, that you can get the reverse romance going on, can't you? And there's 2 things I want to say about the because you make
nostalgia.
Exactly. And we haven't had this conversation before. The conversation we have had is about the honeymoon period of moving to Portugal, and that's well documented. And people,
well, in the 8 stages of relationship, we did that.
Absolutely.
We worked all the way through from start to end.
Yes, we did, didn't we? Infatuation, the first tiff.
Yes.
Like, I'm out of here. All of that, all of those stages.
Commitment,
But
consideration, all those things.
And there's a thing about this is that when we were having those conversations, there was a general, I think when we were having that conversation, there was a general honeymoon atmosphere on YouTube and in the world, wasn't there?
Oh, yes. A sales attitude. Like everyone was trying to sell Portugal.
That's right.
Why?
That's right. Yeah.
What's at stake for you? Why is it important that you sell everyone else on Portugal? I never understood that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had my agenda.
Absolutely.
I don't make any secret of that. That is part of my living, really. And I'm glad to say I feel the same way about the place, because I think I'd feel pretty fraudulent and terrible now if my love that I was sharing had waned. And fortunately, it hasn't, because that would be very awkward and embarrassing right now. But we were in that time, weren't we, when we were having that conversation about the 8 stages? It was pitched in a collective sense of like, yay, we love it here. These are all 8 reasons why you should
It's all
move.
good always. Everyone should come.
8,000 reasons why you should move. And then now you look on YouTube and it's like, Portugal sucks. And
had to leave.
I saw one yesterday. Are Americans ruining Portugal?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's
all 0.01% of us here.
I thought that's got to be clickbait, and of course it is, it's an interesting conversation. But what's more interesting to me is how that's part of a collective sense now of we've moved on a bit, haven't we? We've moved on from the big salesy thing more into the like soul searching, and it reflects what's going on in the world as well, because that's the other thing. Going to the nostalgia that you picked up on, full on lever. We're here in Portugal, and you throttling back, and your memories are getting further and further back in the rear view mirror. So the kind of the sense of like, I'm so glad to be out of that place is like, hey, maybe it wasn't so bad after all, and I missed my Marmite and my mince pies at Christmas and all this sort of thing. And that's maybe where we're at now collectively, I think, as well.
Yeah, well, and so much of that is emotional. So when you make the decision to go, you're in love and you're eager and you're looking forward, and where you're leaving, perhaps, I mean, not everyone for sure, is I can't stand it, I need to get away from there. It's all very strong, powerful emotions, which is that lever you're talking about. As it fades, with everything in human memory, we tend to remember the pleasant moments. We tend to remember, I remember that time where, I was madly in love with the woman I ended up just having to divorce. It just, we could, in that faded memory, we tend to remember the more positive. So it's more balanced. It's the word that occurred to me is more mature. We kind of get seasoned into how we recall and what we're looking forward to. And that's the balance you're talking about. The levers tend to find the mid-range, and it's a nice coasting speed as opposed to, full-on acceleration, then the brakes. It's like that's rough.
Yes. Right. Yeah, so true. And it can't be all bad, can it? But I guess
it never is. It's never all bad.
Exactly. And maybe the emotional fuel we need, we get, and eventually that can become a full-on, oh man, I so miss queuing up at bus stops and stuff like that. And hearing people moaning. Oh, if only I could hear people moaning in English. That would make me feel so happy. Right. But I know that's coming in Portuguese, you see. That's my thing about one of my hesitancies about Portuguese. Like I think I've said to you before, when I'm in the cafe, I'm thinking the Portuguese people are just talking about the joys of life and how beautiful everything is. They're not. They're moaning in Portuguese, aren't they? I can't understand them, and I like that.
Yeah, well, many, I don't even know many. Some are moaning, some are, there's clearly a lot of laughter going on, and some are just talking. So I think it's like anywhere you go, it's just when you can hear the moaning, you notice it. And if you prefer not to hear the moaning, then it's like, I don't want to be hearing this. So there is an advantage if you don't understand the language, you don't know what they're saying. I typically am more sensitive to the energy, so I can tell they're complaining, or I can tell they're happy, or whatever. Emotionally, I can feel that. So I pick up the energy of it. So even if I don't understand the specifics of what they're moaning about, I still feel that moaning energy. That's like, I think I need to go move somewhere else away from this.
And I think Portuguese people can moan whilst laughing as well, which is a great.
I try to stay away from stereotypes. I look at humanity, at least in the cultures that I'm familiar with, and we all will laugh at ourselves. We'll all laugh at our problems from time to time. It's a way to remove ourselves from the negative energy of actually really feeling the reality of those things that we aren't enjoying.
Yeah,
Laughter is a way to break. Making jokes is the way to kind of break off from it.
Yeah, the two great Portuguese, I think, remedies for difficult situations: laughter and alcohol. I think,
and self-deprecation.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
making a joke about something that I goofed up on, or that I,
yes.
you know, that is also, I see that a lot with the Portuguese that I've had conversations with. They make fun of themselves, which just lightens life when you can kind of laugh at yourself and go, all right, well, we all make mistakes.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of material, let's face it. Just switch on the BBC News. That will rid you of any nostalgia. Thanks for that tip. And X does it for me as well. I did hear or see something about people leaving Portugal, says Matty. Just a little bit of noise coming up on Matty's radar. And I think quitters don't have what it takes.
No judgment.
Pathetic. Persistence.
Losers.
Right. Yes, losers. Right.
But he's right. He's right. I mean, the key there is commitment and persistence and a willingness to stick through it. Again, this is why I love the analogy of a romantic relationship. It goes across perfectly. You know, we reach points in our very loving relationships where we're just really having a hard time understanding why we continue to be with that person. And if we quit there and we just left, then we wouldn't get into the times where we get that really deep appreciation for what we, built together and grown through and gone through together. So there is an element of sticking to it through the times that are more challenging, so you can get through to the other side and then make an accurate measure. Maybe you get to that place and you go, it's still not for me, but at least I didn't quit just because it was bad. It was feeling bad at the time. It just doesn't feel right for me now, even though it's not feeling bad anymore. That is perfectly legitimate.
Yeah. So persistence and commitment, I think, is what you're talking about there. This is interesting, Sarah. No nostalgia, truly. Recently, one family friend was detained by immigration. Another was on his way home and got hit by a car. Awful, yes. I'm sure that would help you not to have any fond memories and be glad to be out of the place. Right, we have to talk about your Portuguese bird. That was clickbait. The old guy and his Portuguese bird.
And we're not talking about that hand signal.
No, okay. We can do that as you leave maybe today. We have a Portuguese bird of the month. I love this. I really do. I think it's great. There's a few Twitchers in our community, or are they called ornithologists as well? Birders, I think you call them in the United States.
Yes.
And this month, look at this. We have
what a bird.
It's the heron. It is the full-grown adult heron there. He is, and it's the Garça Real this month.
The royal heron, no less.
The royal heron. I always thought he had a bit of blue blood, and whether it's the Spanish or British or Argentinian blood, I'm not sure about. But shout out to you, Michael Heron, and of course that is a clue to the bird of the month. There it is, the real thing. I've always loved herons. Having a little bit of Eastern kind of heritage, this is an auspicious bird. Whenever I see one majestically flying into the sky, I think something good's going to happen, like a power animal. Why did you choose this one this month, James?
Well, I will say this is the juvenile, so it's not colored quite as there's the adult. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what we're probably more likely going to see. Yes. As I said before, the birds that I'm choosing to share are the ones that I've actually seen since I've been in Portugal. This one looks a lot like what we call a great blue heron in the US. I don't know if it is the same bird or a related bird. They're both herons. They're both large. They're both gray blue, similar coloring. But you're right about the majesticness of the bird. When you see them fly, as in this picture, you would never know that their neck is probably, I don't know, 40 centimeters long. I mean, it's a long neck, but when they fly and when they just are standing still, they pull it in. Obviously, we would do that if our necks were that long.
I'd show it off. But yeah, after a while, it would be tiring, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But it's by design. They do a lot of essentially spearfishing. They get into shallow waters, and it's amazing to watch how precise they are. They rarely miss. They just stand there and look at the water.
Yeah.
And they come up with little fish in their beak. Right. And they do the same thing with insects when they're in marshlands or grassy areas. They'll eat insects as well. So, but yeah, it's the size. the fact that they can get up, it's watching them take off is kind of fun, because you can see there's a lot of work and energy getting off the ground, fighting the gravity. But once they're up and they're flying, it's pretty beautiful.
Not unlike the stork here, because in my native UK, the heron was one of the biggest birds you'd see in the sky, flying in that majestic way. But then when you come here and you see pterodactyls, as in storks flying about the place, they're awesome. Merlin bird app is great for identifying different bird sounds.
That's
Thanks
the one I use.
Yeah, then you can look for them. So far, I've identified a Eurasian nightjar. How fabulous. Couldn't see it. It was 4 a.m. And Queen and Convict re-leaving Portugal, its expectations, maybe. Carl made a good point recently about being yourself wherever you go. Absolutely. When reality hits, some people seek what they are more familiar with, perhaps. Yeah, wherever you go, there you are. After the luggage comes the baggage.
There is a yearning for conversations with language you understand without having to work at it. And I think that can be another pull. It's just like, I tend to talk way too much when I'm talking with English-speaking people, because I don't have the opportunity to have those conversations with everyone. So I yearn for it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's great talking to you this morning. I love chatting with you, James.
Me too.
In your monthly. Thank you for bringing your Portuguese bird along this morning, and we'll see you again next month with another one. Also, and we're going to get kinky now. We're going to play your tune "Sunny Afternoon." I always, in my mind, I had this as Sunday afternoon for some reason.
Me too. And that's what when I would search for it, I was looking for Sunday afternoon, and I got all these other Sunday, and I used summer. I was feeling the summer energy of a previous song you played. I think it was War, and it was. Now I'm thinking of other music. I can't remember the tune, but it has this nice sort of flow to it, and it speaking of nostalgia, it kind of brings summer to mind. And this song, when I was thinking about summer, and I heard that song, which created an earworm that wouldn't go away. But then this one, it's like, now this one will be stuck in my head for a while. But yes.
Well, let's hope so. We'll send everybody off into their Boa Semana and their Bon Dia today with the Kinks Sunny Afternoon. Thanks, James. Look, we've got Matty here. Subscribe to Henry and Nina's channel and left a comment. If you want, we can connect. I can answer any questions you might have. Isn't that lovely? That's what we do here. That's what we do in the Good Morning Portugal community. Look after each other, especially when things get a little bit difficult. James, have a great week, have a great month, and we'll see you soon, my friend. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
All the best, mate. Ciao, ciao. And I need to press a few buttons. Me and Bob here.